What differentiates Zurich Edge to a lot of insurtech platforms out there in the market is that a lot of insurtech platforms will look after one part of the customer journey or the customer proposition. But Zurich Edge, we do the technology. So we provide the technology platform to a partner. And then we also co-design the insurance proposition with that partner that is personalized to their customer. We underwrite it, we take on all the risk, and we also service that customer post-sale as well.
We start selling the travel insurance through Japan Airlines. We started from this February. Actually, we are using their international flight booking pass. And through that booking pass, we are offering travel insurance.
Zurich Edge represents an exciting development in Zurich Insurance's growth strategy across the Asia-Pacific region. The company already boasts a robust portfolio of over 200 partnerships in 6 markets, collaborating with leading brands in diverse sectors such as retail, travel, banking, FinTech, e-commerce, automotive, and telecommunications. Among the prominent partners are Japan Airlines, TikTok, Citibank, and MY Airline.
Our topic tonight is embedded finance, embedded insurance, and specifically we're going to talk about Zurich Edge, which is the platform of Zurich Insurance, newly built and introduced here in Japan. So we want to take that as an example to discuss what embedded insurance means, why a company like Zurich is betting on that. I'd like to welcome Hattori-san, who's the head of digital partnerships at Zurich Insurance in Japan, and Vy Pham, who's the regional product owner for Zurich Edge. Welcome to the two of you. It's great that we could pull this off, and I think we have a very long list of questions that will take some time to work through. We'll see how much we can cover. First of all, I'd like to give you a moment to introduce yourself. Vy, if you don't mind starting.
Hi, I'm Vy. I'm really excited to talk to you today and your audience about our new platform. I've been in the financial services industry for 20 years now and been working on building this platform for almost a year. Happy to take your questions today.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hattori-san.
My name is Tetsuya Hattori. Thanks for joining the event today. I'm actually in the insurance industry almost 30 years now, heading to digital partnership in Zurich, Japan.
Wonderful. Zurich, you had a big year last year, and the slogan is 150-year startup. So it was 2022, the 150-year anniversary of Zurich Insurance. It's been a brand in Japan, a pretty well-recognized brand for a long time. I remember seeing advertisements when I came first to Japan in 97. How long has Zurich actually been in Japan as one of the few foreign insurers?
It's almost 40 years.
I'm always curious, and we talked about this on other podcasts when we look at financial services broadly in Japan. There aren't that many foreign consumer brands here anymore. On the banking side, Citi left maybe about 10 years ago. Especially on the banking side, maybe you can count the payments companies like Stripe and then Revolut now into that. But on the banking side, there isn't really anything. On the insurance side, it seems the market share is about 10% for the foreign entities. When you look at your marketing or market research, what does it tell you about Zurich as a brand is perceived here in Japan? Switzerland, of course, has always this view and this attachment to security, stability, and so on. So that's a very good image to have, regardless of whether it's in Japan or not. Any specific insights you can share as to your market research shows that Zurich as a brand is perceived in this country?
We're actually doing the periodical research asking the customer that we show the variety of the insurance company, the name of the insurance company, and pick up 3 or 5 insurance company you ever heard about it. We are in the 6th place at the moment. There's a number, 80% of the customer knows, at least they heard about our brand somewhere. In Japan, we are very well recognized. One of the reasons is 50% of the total revenue here in Japan coming from automobile insurance. And we are doing TV commercial So I think that's why many of the customers know about Zurich Japan, even if we are a foreign insurance company.
Yeah, that's an incredibly high brand recognition. That's a real asset to have. Let's get straight to it then. What is Zurich Edge?
It's a newly launched set of solutions that we trying to bring together our comprehensive technology capabilities and also partnering that with our deep insurance expertise of 150 years to help our business partners in the region to seamlessly embed insurance into their customer journeys. This encompasses quotes, purchasing, servicing, and claims. And we think these customer interactions should be fully digitized and strategically embedded into the partner's ecosystem. To do this, we leverage our full stack open architecture suite, and we take a data-driven approach to partnership optimization. We also have in-market digital squads. Tetsuya Hattori runs a digital squad in Japan. We have them in each of the countries in the region. And those teams take a localized and collaborative approach to help us develop customer-centric propositions that can be expanded beyond the traditional coverage options that we would normally have to help our business partners drive long-term value.
There's quite a bit to unpack in there. Such a new proposition, of course, is an investment, and Zurich isn't a small company. So for it to materially move the needle in terms of gross premium written, meaning revenue ultimately, it needs to create some volume to make a noticeable contribution to the bottom line. It's a big decision. It's a global platform and will be rolled out across Asia. Why ultimately has that become part of the strategy for Zurich?
Zurich globally, our strategy is based on 3 pillars. So we focus on the customer, it's around simplification and innovation. When you talk about revenue, of course, we have to make money and it's an important factor, but revenue isn't the only factor. The trends that we're seeing in our book is that younger customers are coming up through the ranks and they are increasingly digital native. So we need to start attracting those younger customers, and we look for opportunities where we can do that with partners that we can do that with. Our aim is to help global brands engage these digital native customers that are increasing in size with protection and prevention services. Insurance coverage is something that most people need, but they really think about. So providing people with a more seamless, easy and personalized way to access insurance is what we're aiming for.
Why the choice of Japan as an early market in the rollout?
Japan has so many opportunities, and whilst Asian countries have increasingly digital savvy, tech savvy consumer base, there's not a lot of products that are digitized, especially in financial services. When we looked at all the opportunities across APAC, and Hattori-san's team worked really hard in this, a lot of the opportunities were coming out of Japan. And there's a lot of customers in Japan, so we also are looking to increase the number of customers we have because our ambition is to reach as many customers as possible.
The counterpoint to that would be that Japan is still very much in-person type of market, and most of the insurance gets sold through some kind of agency. Even if you look at e-commerce as a leading indicator, Japan has been getting stronger, of course, in particular through the pandemic, but has given back a bit now that the markets are open again. So it's not necessarily the e-commerce leader, but clearly your commitment to the market and your investment here says that you believe Japan will also turn into a very e-commerce oriented and digital insurance market ultimately.
In the past, the Japanese people tend to buy their insurance through in-person agent, offline agent. However, those customers now getting a little bit older, and then the younger generation start to look for insurance, not through offline, but they tend to look for an insurance by themselves, not deeply rely on what the agent said, but they are trying to look for insurance product by themselves, which is basically digital basis. So I think there's a huge opportunity there.
And we're joking in a way, Hattori-san, embedded insurance is such a buzzword, but if you look at the traditional Japanese market for home and car insurance, you could argue that's always been embedded and sold through these agency channels of the car dealership and the real estate agent, but in an analog way. Turning that now digital will be an interesting journey to follow.
In the past, people think that there are some kind of obligation to buy from the car dealer or the real estate. There's no choice, but you have to buy the insurance by that type of distribution. But the customer getting very clever, they know that they can make their own decision. So I think, again, there's a big chance because consumer behavior is changing.
The challenge may be when you embed your offering into somebody else's e-commerce website or a sales website, and we'll talk about some specific partnerships also in a minute. The risk is that your brand, because it's embedded, is not quite as visible. It's a bit diminished. Maybe how do you make sure when you're going this path of embedded insurance that the value that we described, this is 80% recognition of Zurich as a brand, still stays strong?
As for retail customers, our position or our ambition is that Zurich be the preferred insurer for those customers. But for our commercial partners, we want to be the leader in underwriting capabilities and customer focus. For us, it doesn't matter whether our brand is exposed or not for those commercial customers. But having said that, we usually look to co-brand with a partner during the purchase journey. We don't have to do it that way. It's usually a discussion with the partner. But the customer will always get a Zurich branded email at the end of the purchase journey as a confirmation of their policy with a link to a secured customer portal. Then all the post-sale activities like policy maintenance, policy inquiries are done in the secured Zurich customer portal, which is Zurich branded. I've not met a partner yet who has wanted to take over that piece or in that journey or be branded in that journey. So it's usually just the purchase journey that they're most worried about in terms of that's where they're bringing the customer in. And we're pretty open about that because, we just want to be seen as a leader in underwriting.
Clearly, your partner is not underwriting the insurance, you're underwriting the risk. So ultimately, there's still very strong visibility of Zurich as a brand.
And that's what differentiates Zurich Edge to a lot of insurtech platforms out there in the market. A lot of insurtech platforms will look after one part of the customer journey or the customer proposition. But Zurich Edge, we do the technology. So we provide the technology platform to a partner like, say, Apple. So we provide the insurance technology platform. And then we also co-design the insurance proposition with that partner that is personalized to their customer. If they're a younger customer or an older customer, we personalize and co-create that product. We underwrite it, we take on all the risk, and we also service that customer post-sale as well.
So if I want to differentiate your model from maybe some other models that you see in the market, I would describe this as a two-party model because you're the insurer, you're underwriting it, you provide the technical platform, and then there is your partner, which is used as a distribution in essence, while the insurtech-driven market that you were alluding to as well, you might have an insurtech that's partnering on the one side with an insurer for underwriting the risk, and then on the other side with an e-commerce platform to get a three-party model. Would that be a fair differentiation?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I guess the best way with our model is that we can work with the partner because we have the license. So we have full empowerment of how we price that product for that partner. We don't have to go to somebody else to get approval for that. So we can deal directly with the partner and price the product appropriately in a way that suits us both.
How you are managing from your UX perspective and from the overall user experience, the post-sale operations, mainly, let's say the insurance case happened. So what's happening next from the customer and the part perspective, how it's being handled? That's the first question. And the second, is it Edge product actually following up on the sales results and adjusting propositions based on the performance of every single partner?
In terms of your first question, How we handle the claims journey is when the customer purchases an insurance product through a platform such as, we have a lot of partners who have super apps. And so there's a lot of things that you can buy on a super app. You can buy meals, you can buy groceries, you can get things delivered, and now you can buy insurance on super apps. So we would be the insurer in that case. The customer goes in to buy the insurance product through that app. It would seamlessly go into our environment, but it's all branded the partners. For the customer, it feels like you're still in the same app. And then they purchase the insurance, but at the end of the journey, they will get email from Zurich to say, this is a confirmation of your insurance policy. That email might be co-branded as well with the partner. It will have a link to their insurance documentation and inside a secured portal. So then when they sign in for the first time, they go in and they can do all sorts of things. And one of those things is to file a claim. We work in Agile, and a lot of those features of the claims journey may not be available from day one. But we know that we can do that seamlessly for them offline as well and make it feel digital until we build those features. Now, to your second question, because the platform underlying is built by us and the customer goes through the journey, we use APIs from our platform and the partner's super app. APIs are transferred between the two platforms. So that really gives us a lot of information when the customer comes in. Through those APIs, we actually know who the customer is. We can surface up the right product to that customer with the right pricing. So for example, if you're a customer over 70 years old, you will be offered a different product than someone who's under 70 years old with different pricing. So when the customer signs in through the API being transferred, we see that. Through APIs and data tagging, we also see what the customer is spending most time on, where they're dropping off. And those kind of analytics we pass on to the partner, and we have discussions with them on how we can optimize customer drop-offs or optimize the conversion to sale.
Let's give an example. As far as your partners are concerned here in Japan, some of them have been press released, so it's public knowledge. Just walk us through one of these partnerships that you've established, and let's make what you described real with the example of that existing partnership.
We start selling the travel insurance through Japan Airlines. We started from this February. Actually, we are using their international flight booking pass. And through that booking pass, we are offering travel insurance. In the past, many of the customer purchased air tickets through a travel agent. So that's why Japan Airlines didn't sell travel insurance. However, many people start purchasing air ticket directly from the airline company. That's why they start thinking about that they should sell the travel insurance by themselves. We had a discussion with Japan Airlines and how to reduce the customers filling the application form, such a thing. We come to a conclusion to introduce an embedded scheme. So I think that's a good example.
That's a great example. If I was booking my next trip on Japan Airlines website, I would be offered Zurich Insurance?
Yes, you will. When you buy the air ticket, you have to fill in your name, date of birth, where do you live, those type of things. At the same time, as an insurance company, to undertake the risk, we can use the same information. The customer do not have to enter twice because we can API those information from the Japan Airlines booking pass. We improve the customer journey, customer experience.
Cool. So we've got Japan Airlines as a flagship partner. Then we was talking about super apps. And then, of course, in Japan, we've got very big electronics retailers, for example, or also e-commerce sites like Rakuten. Of course, you're not giving away your product strategy, but if you think about where you could embed your offering in, would these be among them?
Yes, I think there's a huge opportunity there. The biggest chance is that, as I explained, that the air ticket purchasing journey is the easiest way to embed it, the main service or the product. However, for example, when you buy the White House goods, is it possible to embed the extended warranty or those type of things? I think that's the next huge opportunity.
On the consumer side, we're seeing the Japan consumer as very demanding. There is not much room for failure. And especially in the startup space, we had a few sessions with startup founders who said it's very hard to be a startup in Japan because this American approach of move fast and break it really doesn't work in Japan. You need to be perfect when you launch. And there's an expectation that there's no fails. If you fail in any regard, then you need to apologize, of course. How are you incorporating that into the platform when you're rolling it out here in Japan? Because the fault tolerance of the consumer, the purchaser of the insurance policy, the fault tolerance is basically zero. So you need to be perfect from the start.
That's an easy answer. We are perfect. No, actually, we work in Agile, which I mentioned before. And so during the development of all of our propositions with our partners, we conduct several tests, both with the Japanese customers as well as our own employee base. So we use our own employee base quite well. We have employees all over the region, but definitely lots in Japan. So we get things out to them and we test it with them. We also test it with our partners' customers. So we do a lot of focus groups, and we do that all along the way. So pretty much at the end of every sprint, we'll showcase something, we'll test it with people, we get some feedback. And then based on that feedback, we will adjust things. For us, that helps increase our confidence level that when we do go to market, that it's going to be something that resonates with our target customers.
Through that journey that you've done now, for example, with GEL already, are there any peculiar requirements that are specific to the Japanese market that you not have seen anywhere else?
From my perspective, just because I'm not Japanese and having worked in Japan for the past year now, some of the things that I found that are very different to other APAC countries is that the UX in Japan is very different. It's not what you would expect in other markets. Japanese people expect a lot more information presented to them in order to build trust with the provider. In other markets, we have a very clean approach. We try to minimize the amount of information that's on a screen so that the customer can get to what they want really quickly. We try to simplify things to make it easier to understand. So that's a lot around like putting things underneath expansion modules and stuff like that. But when we did customer testing in Japan on screens, we realized that it wasn't going to resonate. We use a local team of UX designers and content writers to help us navigate that. Also, the regulatory environment is quite difficult and different in Japan than in other regions. I would also say the payment systems and methods is very different in Japan than in other regions as well. Although in Japan and Indonesia, there's a high use of e-wallets that you don't see in, say, Australia. And there's lots of providers as well.
One important thing is that, of course, how to reduce stress to buy the insurance product. However, at the same time, we have to make 100% sure to avoid, oh, I didn't know I purchased the insurance. We have to make 100% sure that the customer really wants to buy the insurance. We're making the insurance offering pay to avoid those type of situations.
At the beginning, we said that the consumer habits change a bit also with the digital natives. In your journey sessions with consumers, so this demand for more information, was that regardless of the generation the consumer belongs to? So young people as well as old people still wanted these very thickly packed screens?
Yeah, the consumer behavior, we're talking about digital native customers. Mostly those would be quite young, 40 years old and under probably. We are testing it with that cohort. I would say we do have seniors products on our digital platforms, but we find that those products would be more likely to be purchased by the child for their parent on the digital platform rather than the parent themselves.
Japan, of course, has a very fast aging population, as have other developed countries and even China now. The Nikkei even this week was saying that 40% of the consumer spending is done by people over 65. So having senior offerings is a great idea because that's where certainly lots of the money still is. What type of products do you envision in that segment? Because you said products for seniors, even if they are bought by the kids. What do I have to imagine under that category?
There's several ones that we look at for the seniors category. We do have a very successful personal accident insurance for seniors in Japan already, which we have moved onto our digital platform for one of our partners. And we think about other products like health products, earthquake insurance products that would be more targeted to that senior customer.
Since we're talking a lot about the customers-facing products and interaction with the customers, what I wonder, are you somehow include the KYC practices in your backend and service offering? And if yes, so how it is utilized, if it's possible to say, and whether the data privacy is of concern in Japan and how you're dealing with that if yes?
We do build that into the platform. There's a rule in Japan that as a customer, you can't go to multiple insurers and buy the same insurance because you accumulate all this insurance and then you have one accident and you can claim on all of them. It's called an accumulation rule. We have to build to factor in for that. There is ways that we have to identify the customer in order to make sure that they haven't maxed out their accumulation limit. There's always fraud, but yes, we have a lot of experience in this, not just in APAC, but across the world. So we have some checks in place to do that in the back end. The other question around data security, of course, data security and privacy is a huge issue. And Zurich partners with a lot of companies in the region and globally to insert those technologies in the back end to protect the privacy of customer data.
You talked quite a lot about the digitalization and the UX challenges here in Japan. That's indeed true with my small experience as well. So what normally takes me 2 clicks in UX here might take 10 or 20, and I'm not even sure I'll get the result. But what, from your perspective, in your experience, is the biggest digitalization challenge here in the Japanese market?
Like you said, the UX is really difficult to navigate because we're trying to put the right information in front of the customer to help them make a decision, but at the same time, build trust with this customer who needs to see a lot of information. And also, there's an insurance product we're working on at the moment for a partner. It's called Free Insurance Premium, so FIP. And it's a little bit like when you sign up for Spotify and you get it for free. And then you get asked to go onto a paid version because it has more features, it doesn't have ads. There's an insurance product that does something similar where you offer a customer free insurance to get them through the door. And then you try and let them know that this free insurance covers them for a short amount of time with a very small benefit, but you get them through the door and you provide them with other options of more comprehensive insurance. We've been testing that in the Japanese market with Japanese customers, and we're just trying to get the flow right at the moment. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges we've had over the last couple of months. I think we're getting it right. We've been testing it and we're almost there. But basically, there is a bit of a friction point with customers when they see something for free. This is in the Japanese market, by the way. When they see something for free, the feedback that we're getting from customers is it feels like it's fraudulent or it feels like they can't trust it. We're working on optimizing how we position that at the beginning. And we also are working on optimizing how many steps it takes to get the customer from the free insurance to the paid insurance to increase that conversion.
That's an interesting model. I'm looking forward to seeing that product once it's out. Just taking the regional view, so Japan, large population, second largest insurance market in the world, you're certainly not starting slow. Where else in the region are you going? You talked a lot about super apps. That makes me think you're cooking something up in Singapore, Indonesia with Grab or GoTo, for example. But how does the region overall look for you?
The region looks really exciting at the moment. As you mentioned, there's lots of super apps in the Asian countries like Grab. Uber's trying to become a super app now. We've got telecom communication companies like Docomo with their super apps. We've got a lot of loyalty points partners in Japan who are trying to become super apps. And the reason why this is happening is because these businesses are trying to keep the customer onto their platform and derive as much data as possible from the customer. How we help with that is that by helping the partner with an insurance offering on their super app, it's another offering, it makes their proposition or their offer to their customer a lot more comprehensive. Obviously, we collect a lot of information from the partner on the customer already, but then there's additional questions that we ask the customer customer at the point where they're applying for the insurance that we capture, and then we also pass back on to our partner. So they're getting more insights through what we're doing, and they're also building customer loyalty and keeping the customer on the platform as well.
Is there a long tail of SME type companies that ultimately could be serviced on your platform as well?
Possibly, but the way we prioritize opportunities at the moment, and we have a really healthy pipeline of opportunities thanks to teams like Hattori-san's team, but how we prioritize that is not so much around size, but it's also around strategic considerations. Do we want to be in this market because we see this market as a long-term opportunity? Do we want to build capability? So does this partner or market provide us with an opportunity to build capability in a particular product that we can replicate in other markets and we haven't built it yet? Is there a particular feature that we want to build that makes this partner the right partner to build it for, to lay that foundation for other partners? There's one opportunity that we have recently put on our roadmap. When you look at the face value, the premium that brings in is very small at the beginning, but it helps us build capability in that market that we don't have, that we can replicate in other markets.
I want to add one other thing is that, of course, the traffic of the super app is very important, but most importantly, that if the partner have the strong intention to grow their insurance business, that's the most important part, I think, because to be honest, that we cannot get success in one day. So you have to try and iterate again and again. Again, the most important thing is the partner have really the intention to grow their insurance business, I would say.
I would thank Hattori-san and Vy for the great discussion. We haven't had the opportunity to talk about insurance for a while in that level of detail, so it's very interesting to see the big mothership Zurich Insurance coming with an Edge platform like this, and you're having a great funnel of very important partners here in Japan, it seems, and then across the region. So wishing you all the best going forward with the rollouts, and then maybe we can take another touch point in a year or two and see how much it has grown. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'd love to come back. Thanks for all the great questions from yourself and your audience as well.
Thank you very much. Take care of everybody.
Thank you. Bye.